Say hi to YouTube, everybody. Say hi to YouTube. That did not go as planned.
You boys like Mexico? Yeah!
Hello everybody, we got the bike in here again, and what we're going to do tonight is actually put the cam in, which we got right here. It's the TB Cam. It's supposed to be good for getting that mid-range woken up real well, and I'm pretty excited about it. It shouldn't take us too much work. Never actually done one of these before. I mean, I put a cam in my my ATV before. I had a little bit of help with it. This is the first time I've done it one solo. Especially one that's injected or anything like that. Not that I know if that matters, but it's supposed to be pretty simple. So we're gonna get into it real quick. I'm gonna point out things that we're gonna do, and I'm gonna set the camera aside, and we're just gonna get busy. So here's the bike. I'm gonna get into the light over here. We actually get started on the real work. But the first things we got to do is we got to remove these two plugs here. That's a sight plug for top dead center. I'm assuming it's maybe the flywheel. No. I'm sure somebody will correct me. It's the flywheel or I believe it's the flywheel in there. It's top dead center mark in there. And you're going to turn it with 17mm in here to make sure we got top dead center. This is the cam cover. These two look like what, 8mm? No. 10mm bolts are going to come out. We need to remove the rocker covers. There's one here. There's one here. That's your exhaust. That's the intake, obviously. Got to back the valves off. We're going to make sure it's on top dead center. Back the valves off. I'm going to pull the bolt out of the cam gear. Got to mark the chain and probably put a zip tie around it or a twist tie or something to hold it so it doesn't fall in the engine. Don't want that to happen. We also need to remove down here this bolt right here. That's the cam chain tensioner. Got to remove that. Pull that out. We'll put a little tray down there in case we get a couple of drops of engine blood. Be sure you have a little bit of engine oil laying around. Fill it up if you lose any. We might end up losing some simply because I got the back of the bike picked up. Stable it. Might put something underneath the front wheel. Might put a couple somethings underneath this front wheel. Try to lift the bike up a little bit higher. Got some blocks we can stick up under the front wheel. Get it up in the air so we can stand it a little bit better. Let's see what we're doing. It should be a pretty straightforward process, I believe. I hope to God. Every other thing I've been trying to do on this bike in the past 2 weeks has run into one problem or another. Not it's the bike's fault, but it's my underplanning and just hoping things would work and throwing parts at it and working. For instance, we tried to do this to do the 2-inch lower, and thought I could be a little bit smarter and not have to put race bars on it because I like these tapers I put on it. But as you can see, we don't quite clear fork tubes like I had planned, and it's not quite high enough, so I'm going to get it another extra spacer and put it underneath there and raise the bars up a little bit. We'll get it done that way. I have blinkers put on it. I have an EL12 electronic flasher in this thing, and apparently it has reduced the load to such an extent with my LED blinkers that that flasher won't work either. So I'm gonna have to order another flasher. Hope to God that fixes it. So that's what we're doing tonight. I don't know how long it's gonna take. I honestly don't care. This is my therapy, riding to and from work on this thing, and the weather's finally cleared out where I can ride it, and I need to ride it. I need it really bad. So we're gonna get this cam in this thing, and we're gonna start it and let it run hopefully tonight, and check our tuning on it, make sure we're getting the fuel that we need to be getting in our AFRs and stuff like that. And I'm actually gonna pull out my fuel controller and leave it up on the tank so I can check it when I ride to work tomorrow morning. Let's hope. So like I said, I'm going to block up the front here and get out some tools. We'll set the camera aside to get another light on here, and we'll do a little bit of a time lapse pulling this thing apart. Probably gonna turn on music, not let you guys listen to it, it's copyright, so that's where we're at. Okay, so you saw everything I did. Put a little mark on the chain. Hopefully the oil won't wipe it off. If not, we're gonna have to retime this thing the old-fashioned way. The thing we gotta do now is this is a new cam, okay? As you can see, it's nice and pretty. We're gonna put a little bit of oil on it when we put it back in. This is the old cam, however, it's got this. I don't know whether that's an advance or what the deal is, and I certainly don't know if it needs to go back on there or not. I don't think it does. Maybe this is just a balancer and this cam comes balanced. Not sure. But I'm going to have to do a little bit of Googling and learn a little bit before I throw this thing back together and cause a problem. The decompression mechanism. I swear I'm not a total idiot, but the more of these I film and the more times I say stupid stuff on the internet and then learn that I'm an idiot really doesn't help. It's a decompression mechanism. It's not going to affect us whatsoever, so I'm going to put a little bit of oil on it and we're going to stab it back in there and get to reassembling. Okay. The reason for the incontinuity is I couldn't tell if I needed to replace my tappets or not. I didn't realize you had to screw them in as far as I did. However, I do have them to a point now where I'm comfortable that I can get them adjusted properly. The only other thing I did off camera was reinstall the cam chain tensioner spring, which was, I mean, come on, that was easy. I put a shaft in there, I put a spring in on the shaft, and I made sure to put the washer back on, crush washer, and tighten that down. So I made sure we're on top dead center, and I need to get my my feeler gauges real quick. If you'll bear with me 1 second, I'll read off. There's a lot of discussion on this, so I don't know what y'all want to do. As far as valve clearances, TB is claiming the intake is 0.004 and the exhaust 0.007, and a racing company said try 004 for intake and 006 for exhaust. People are talking about how they're loud, and a lot of people are saying they go down to 0.003 for intake and 004 for exhaust. And a lot of people are saying they run 003, both intake and exhaust. There are a couple people that saying 003 is a little bit tight, and the reason why people are getting a lot of a valve slap and tappet sounds are just from the cam, and you don't really want to burn up a valve from having too tight of valves. After all, this is a little Honda engine, and it is low strain, so it's not like it's gonna blow it up. I think I'm gonna try a maybe a 004 and a 006 for the exhaust. I really would rather not burn up a valve. I think I'm gonna do 4 on the intake and 6 on the exhaust, and we'll just deal with whatever noise we might get from it from there. So let me grab my feelers real quick. I can fit around this. Got all my shot out of whack. As you can see, we're working in the very front of the garage. The Moz is behind me. It's needing a lot of work, and I've been haven't been kind to it for a little while now. So let's see if we can find. See, there's our 004, and there's my 006. Goodness gracious, I'm gonna have to wipe these off. They're a bit bit skanky looking here. So if y'all are gonna judge me, then you can just send me some money for some more feeler gauges. Otherwise, don't be hateful. We won't do a time lapse on here. We're just gonna get these set right up. So what'd we say? We're gonna do 4 on the intake and 006 on the exhaust. Is that what we said? Yes, 4 on the intake and 6 on the exhaust. So let's get our feeler up here. Just go. Tighten that little fella down. Ooh. Dadgum lock. Nut. Ooh. It's right there. Alright, let's do this one at a time. So, I have to do a 9mm wrench. It is in fact 9mm. I don't care what anybody says or what you read. If yours is not fitting properly, it's probably because you got a cheap Harbor Freight wrench. If you're gonna spend money on tools, if you're gonna spend money and drop it on some semi-decent actual wrenches, sockets, etc. It's for this very reason here. I know that I should really have a little tappet wrench to hold that little fellow, but we're gonna do him like that. Alright, that's a preliminary tighten. Put the feeler gauge back under it, make sure it didn't move. This is actually the, other than setting the timing, this is the other important part here. Well, dang it, Bobby. See? Got tight on us. I'm going to loosen it and back that off just a smidgy. Rather do this 3 or 4 times and get it right. Yes, I know everybody's got a better way to do this than I'm currently doing it. I'm fully aware. We'll preload our tap it, assuming that it's going to tighten ever so slightly. Let's get our 04 go. Ooh. See, that is still a little bit too tight. I don't like how tight that is. You'd think I'd love it the tighter things got. Tight is not always great. Honestly, rather it be a smidge loose than... Oh. Feels pretty good. You don't want it to bind going through there. I think we're gonna start there. Let me snug that down just a smidge here. Remember, we are already a little bit more tight than manufacturer recommendations for this cam. You don't need to over tighten that lock nut on that tappet either. It needs to be tight, but not too tight. General rule of thumb that I've learned from the father is pay very close attention when you take stuff off and note how tight it is and try to remember. See, and that's held pretty good. Alright, so there's 0.04 for our intake valve. Now for the exhaust. It might be, well, here. I know what we'll do for you guys. A little louder for the ones in the back here, or brighter in this case. Oh boy, my camera's getting warm. We're gonna have to step up here. It's incredibly difficult to do being as old as I am. Dang near we got that one. Anybody going to import face-off? call that heavy duty. Get my feelers back in there. We'll call that one good too. Do a little tighten on him. Hope if I go the right way, wouldn't it? God. Does anybody actually watch these videos and learn anything? You just stand there like I do when I'm editing them and go, what an idiot. For instance, I just told you to put your feeler gauges up, and I didn't check that. God bless America. God, what a week I picked to stop drinking. See, and I'm glad I did that too, because that little son of a tightened. Okay, there. Now, let's finish putting the snug on him. All right, now the next order of business is to turn this engine over a couple times completely. Make sure the valves aren't hitting anything. We're gonna go nice and easy. Top dead center, top dead center. Go over one more time. I think we're gonna be all right here. are. So what I did was literally rotate the engine around as many times as it took for my dot on that chain to work its way all the way around and get right back on where I had it. We are still top dead center. I'm going to check the valves one more time, I guess. Then we're going to put the covers all back on this thing and start it and see what it does. That's kind of where we're at. So I'm going to pull my fuel gauge real quick, and we shall reassemble. Alright, this video has gone on forever. I'm going to check the oil real quick and we're going to start it and see what it does. Alright. Well, if you're new to any of my videos, I always check for leaks. I keep an eye on it. I do hear a very light ticking from the valves, but I'll check and readjust after I put a few miles on it. Let it get some oil going in it. I do like the Lopi. It's 8-stroking up in here. Well, we're going to keep an eye on the AFRs, make sure it runs like it's supposed to. We're not going to get alarmed if we see a little wisp of smoke coming up from the bowels where I might have dripped. But she is running. Alright, there we go. We'll ride it tomorrow and see what it does. Bart? Shout out to Ian for driving me. Say hi, Tyler.